Yeah. Like you feel like you have to do it now because you promised yourself that.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying,
I gotta
right?
go back and tell you guys about the start, like my addiction and stuff like that, and what it made, and what running, when running came into my life, and all that stuff, and how
Oh, turn this off.
yeah, and I went from like a life of like Ushihana, you know,
Yeah.
like I went from a life of like going to college. I went to the U of M, and then I met a girl there, and then basically growing up as you know, bây giờ mong na, growing up we cần thơ, right? Cần thơ, here you have to you know, listen, obey, and I did all that, but I knew there's something inside of me that wanted to come out, which I wasn't able to because growing up in such a traditional Hmong family that I was not able to express myself the way I wanted. You know, it was just all everything for the family, and so there's that, you know, in me wanting to get let loose. But so when I went to college, that's when everything came out, bro. Like drugs, alcohol, ecstasy. That was like during the that was during when they had like Club 2000 back then, and Myth was big, bro.
Stargate too, right?
Yeah, Stargate too. So,
Stargate,
bro, I would
Chavano. Just kidding. I'm
Just a
kidding.
little bit. Just
we
a little
would
bit.
hit off that like
Little
every
bit.
week, bro, and just get messed up. And I just drifted away from family. I moved in with a girl, and I just drank like every day. So when I went to school, college, I was there, and then I started drinking on the weekends, just partying, and then it went from just the weekends to Monday, and then from the weekends to Monday to Tuesday, and then eventually, I would show up early in class, and I would just not even stay in class and go back and started partying again. So it would just be the whole week nonstop.
Wow.
And so eventually, I just quit school, and I didn't tell my parents about it, and so. I didn't tell my parents, and then I just kept telling them that I was going to school, but I was building up this. What I didn't know was I was building up this addiction life, this thing that was I was just having fun. It seemed so innocent at that time. It was building up. That was the buildup of my future that I didn't see. The fall, like my addiction life and my addiction career, I didn't see that, and then. Me, I'm the type of guy, and I don't know, maybe you guys understand, but like, I go all the way, you know,
Okay.
like, ก็เพิ่ง extreme นะ一個絕我嘢個絕我了佢一個我嘢個 go all the way in. There's no
Backing out.
yeah, and so when I got into my addiction, I took it all the way, you know, as far as alcohol goes, and then so the next 10 years of my life, that was it. Just drinking, doing all that stuff, going to clubs. It led into ecstasy too. At one point, lots of ecstasy, you know, like
man.
and then
Yeah.
I would just. But you know what, bro? When I first started college, I started running, and so I always had that, you know, and I always wanted to push myself and be a healthier version of myself. And so in the back of my mind, through all this addiction, there was still that running, and so I would always. Even though I party and the next day they would go to sleep, I would still get up and go run like 3 to 4 miles. And I would still keep doing that because I knew how important it is for me to keep my body well because I saw my parents get sick at such an early age. My parents passed at such an early age. I think my dad died at 65. My mom died right around that age too. So my parents went through a lot of sickness without even being in addiction. So that made me realize that, you know what, if I don't really take care of my body, and I'm gonna die even sooner with the way I'm living. And so that made me want to take care of myself. But besides that, when I was younger, I was really into sports too. So that helped a lot. I love sports. I played tennis, played soccer, played flag football. And so I really enjoy that. So when I got out of, I always kept that. And so I kept running. And so I would always keep doing that. And eventually, fast forward a few years ago, my parents passed, right? And then my addiction went deeper. Like, it went to the point where it wasn't hanging out with your friends anymore, or it wasn't partying anymore, you know? It was just drinking alone, by yourself, drinking through to get through the day, drinking for everything, drinking because you feel a certain way, drinking because, right. And so it wasn't even fun anymore, but I couldn't, in my mind, I thought that I could stop it. I thought I could say, hey, you know what? Tomorrow I could quit. But it never works out that way. And so it just kept going. And during those times, those years, I lost my parents, and I was able to keep running, you know, because I would know that every time I had a marathon coming up, I would stop, and then I would have to train for that marathon. So that kept me going, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that gave me a sense of purpose, but it didn't stop me from drinking. That was just genuinely, naturally a passion of mine that I enjoy, you know. And so as human beings, we all enjoy that. And then it wasn't until years later when I moved out of my brother's house, and I lived on my own until my addiction took a turn for the worse. And let me, before getting to that, up to this point, my addiction was already like really bad. I already had like 40 WIs.
40?
Wow.
Four. Oh,
4 is a lot already.
Yeah.
40, you wouldn't be here.
40,
40, that's for life, dude. Prison for life.
I was on the verge of going to prison, right? And
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I thought I was going to sinkhole for sure. And then the judge was like, yeah, you know what? If you mess up one more time, you're going straight to St. Cloud. So I was doing like county. I did county jail in Ramsey. I did in Washington County. And so,
And this was all from drinking.
yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, bro.
Not
Yeah,
theft
because-
or anything like that, just drinking.
Yeah, and so after that, I was in jail, right, for my third DWI, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then this guy, he came up to me. I was like, I didn't want to stay there, cause you know, I had a girlfriend. I wanted to get out. I didn't want to stay in there. So the dude came up to me. He was like, "You heard of Teen Challenge? You could get out of here, bro. If you sign up for that, the judge would just let you go and you know, you could be off." So I was like, "Yeah, for sure, sign me up." And then but in my mind, I was thinking like, as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna go drink again. You know, like I didn't care about that. You know, I just wanted to get out.
Wait, sorry to cut you. How old are you now?
46.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro. Throughout my whole life there, I was just like drinking and doing all this stuff, but running has always been a part of it, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I got out of there, Teen Challenge didn't accept me. So I just got out anyways. And then I moved on and lived on my own, and then moved out of North Branch. I was working at Anderson Windows, getting paid pretty good.
Okay.
And then my addiction was still there, and you know, being an addict, I still thought being prideful and addict, I still thought I could take care of it, and so I never really, you know, I didn't take it seriously. I was just like, okay, I got this. I could stop whenever I could, and so it got really bad to the point where I lost so much hope, bro, for my future, and I stopped running, and so at that point, I was like. It went back to 2019 when I was locked up, and then it came back to Teen Challenge, and that's when I called them up, and they're like, "Yeah, you know what, bro? We could come and get you, but it'll be a week before we come pick you up." I was like, "Okay, I'll wait a week," and then the next day she was like, "No, we're gonna come and get you within an hour." So I was like, "Okay." Went back to my apartment, grabbed everything, and then I went up to Teen Challenge rehab. That's where my whole life changed through being a Christian, you know, in Christ. And that's where I really started having a relationship with God, and my whole life changed, my whole perspective changed. And instead of thinking about myself, I started thinking about others and what I've done. And so I became all that energy that I used for drinking, I used it to help people, to push myself to be a better person, to inspire others, like I've been inspired by the people up in Duluth. And so from there, my life just took off. And so I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys today. And I've only shared this with a few, but I think if I talk now, then everybody's going to know. But throughout my whole life, I've always been chasing the blessing from my father. You know, like my dad, I wish he would just be like, "Hey, you know what? I'm so proud of you," you know?
Yeah.
But he never said that. And that's something that I've been chasing my whole life, just for like, "Oh, you're good enough." And I never received that. And so when I went up to Duluth, I was sitting at the church, right? And this lady, she's very prophetic, like she knows, she gets the word from God and she'll come and
Okay.
tell you. So she could kind of, she's a visionary
Okay.
in that sense. And so one day I was just sitting back and she was like, come here, like straight up to me, like seriously. She was like, come here. And I walked up to her. She was like, I got something to tell you, and sit down. And I sat down and she was like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I got a word to tell you that your Heavenly Father is really proud of you and he thinks that you're good enough. Bro, when I heard that, that broke my whole, like, boom, like, I felt like a ton of bricks hit me. Because I've never told that to anyone. And here, this lady just comes and tells me this. And I've been wanting that my whole life. It just hit me. And so when it hit me like that, I'm like, wow, who is this God? Who is Jesus? I got to really pursue this because this is something I've been holding in my whole life. I've never told anybody that, that's something that I really pursue and want to be accepted, not by friends, not by people out, but by my own family, by my own dad. And now this lady is just coming in and telling me this, and I feel so loved. And the feeling I had that day, I couldn't explain. It was like this warmth feeling, peace over me. And so from then on, I got into the Bible, bro. I got into the Bible. I prayed. I started this relationship with God, and then my life just started turning around. And then I was up there with people that encouraged me. And then so one day I was just sitting around and thinking, man, I'm over here. I'm not doing anything. Well, let me get on the treadmill again. I haven't ran in a while.
Okay.
So I was thinking, man, let me run. Let me get back on the treadmill. And so the first day I got on there, it was tough, coming back. But I just kept going, and people were like, man, this dude's crazy. Every morning he's on there. Every night he's on there. And then so I kept doing that, and then I had no intentions of running a marathon, right? I've ran in the past, marathons in the past, but at the rehab TC, I wasn't thinking. I was just like, I wanted to get back in shape. And so the guys were like, man, Grandma's Marathon, which is up in Duluth. They're like, oh, you should really run. I told them, no, I don't think I'm in shape. And then they kept urging me on, and I prayed about it. And then before long, that feeling I had, like before, it came back and it says, you know what, you should really think about doing this. So I thought about it. I prayed some more, and the same feeling, inkly, that came. So I went and asked their manager, their client care manager there. Nobody's allowed to go out, right? So I asked him if I could, he would let me out to go run outside, because training on the treadmill versus outside, two different things.
Yep.
I was running on the treadmill every day, every morning, but then running out on the
streets.
that's that's
right.
night and day. So I asked him, and he said, yeah, I'll let you out. At first he was reluctant. He was like, if I do that, it'd be favoritism. I don't want to show that. And then he thought about it, and he called me. He said, Free, I'll let you do it. If anybody wants to have that privilege as you, I want to see them go do a marathon as well, then I'll let them. But
Okay.
yeah,
I
so
see.
he's like, if you're willing to do this, I'm gonna let you. But if anybody wants to do it, then they got to do it like you do it too. They got to run a marathon too. Then I'll let them. But if they're just
Yeah.
gonna go out there and mess around, then I'm not. So I took that seriously, bro. And then I went and I ran every day. So he would give me Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays 2 hours to go run. So I would use those 2 hours to run 20 miles, do my long runs.
20 miles?
Yeah. So Monday
Jeez.
I would run 20 miles. Wednesday I would run 20 miles, and then Saturday I would run 20 miles again. And then in between those days, we were let out to go walks for like maybe like 30 minutes or something. And I would just do the short miles during that time.
Okay.
So it would be like 5, 6, 7 miles during those times. But on those 3 days, I would do my 20 miles.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I would run from Duluth almost up to Two Harbors, Minnesota.
So when you first started again, how did it feel after you ran
bro.
20 miles?
Bro,
How did your body feel? Yeah.
First, the first day, for since a while,
Oh, wow.
like I was like, man, I don't know if I should, because the treadmill I was doing good, right? And then when I got back on the road, I was like, oh man, bro, I was like, but something in me, that desire, that to it just kept pushing me. So I just kept going back out there, and then eventually it got a little easier. But man, if you guys know So I'll tell you guys this: Duluth, it has some of the worst and most unpredictable weather there is. Like one day it'll be like nice and sunny. The next day, the waves come in from Lake Superior and the wind, and it would just be like
Yep. 'Cause
20-mile-per-hour wind.
that's because
And you still ran?
Yeah, bro, every day. And then I would just, and then eventually, there's Itomika. He would get up with me. He was um, he's a client there too, but he was a client leader.
Yeah.
So he had the badge. So he would take us out in the morning. He'll wake us. He saw me running and he wanted to get in shape. So he would always get up in the morning. Like we would get up like 5 in the morning and to go run. And so every day, bro, I would go. And this Mika guy, he was a little chubby, short guy, pudgy. But every day, bro, Tomika na kuchito boy tu Mika show every day kiano kumona, you know?
Really?
Like that dude, his name, shout out to Ryan D. That dude, every day, bro, he got up and he went with me and he ran, even though the kids, you know, every day that dude was so committed in more ways than, you know, he knows it. He inspired me even more than me going out there myself, you know, because when you do it, you're in the midst of it, you're like, oh, I'm just doing it. But when a guy like that gets out there and he runs every day and you committed, you make you show,
Yeah.
So I gotta, so that whole winter, man, that whole summer, me and Ryan, we would get up in the morning and run every day. And we would, up in Duluth, they would know us as like the running crew. We would just get up and run every day. And I've never seen, like I've seen other people, they would come and go and commit like a day or two.
Right,
But
right.
Ryan, he would be every day with me. I did all that. And then Grandma's marathon came. And then I was able to go and run it. I didn't run it, and I finished it. And it was a very proud moment, and I'm so glad that I finished it. But the last 3 miles, I think from 23 to 25, those last,
Okay.
yeah, I have never suffered because I wasn't really ready, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I had to really play tricks with my mind. I really had to go 1 mile at a time.
Okay.
Just finish 1 mile. When I hit mile 22, that's all I said was one more mile. Cause I've done marathons in the past where you get what thought, but that was the toughest because I wasn't properly trained and nutritionally wise, I wasn't eating the right stuff because I was up at TC. I wasn't able to get my own food. I had to eat their food and sub it in certain ways, you know, and I wasn't about to just say, hey, you know what? I'm training for this marathon. They already let me out too. I'm gonna need some special food too. So I wasn't. My thing was, I'm gonna eat what they have here. Thank you guys for allowing me to go do this already. And so that mile 22 to 26, bro, my legs were dead. It was done. But I just, in my mind, I just said, you know what? I thought about all the training. I thought about 1 more mile. Eventually, 1 more mile turned into 2 miles. 2 miles turned to 3 miles. And when I ran down Canal Park, and I
Okay.
saw that finish, bro, I couldn't be more happier in my life. My legs were shot. They were dead. They were gone. But I knew, bro, there was a point like that much I quit, you got like no power, nothing at all. But I just knew that even if I didn't have it in my legs, I gotta do whatever it took. And I think that as marathoners, I respect people that run so much now because you gotta really dig. You gotta go to a place where it's dark. And so when I finish, I will tell you it might be my slowest marathon, but it's one of the one that I'm the proudest of because because of the circumstances, you know. And so after that, I really felt like I came back to the TC place. Everybody was happy. But a few days later, I realized, I was talking to my chaplain up there, and I realized that, you know what? It wasn't the fact that I decided to run. It was the fact that I did it to symbolize that, you know what? Although we're broken, although people look at us as being addicts, I showed that, you know what, even though we're considered lower, we could still go do good. But the only way we could do good is we believe in God and have that hope and that purpose. When the guys at TC saw me did that, we came closer together and united for that summer because they saw one of their brothers go out and achieve something. And so from that, I took a valuable lesson. And you know what? Whatever I do from now on, number one, I have to do something that, like every little thing I do affects people so much that either I'm doing, when I was in my addiction, picking up the bottle, it affected so many people, but yeah, I didn't care. But now I'm able to see how much it affects people here, and only through God can I do that. And so from that, I came down here to Minneapolis, started the leadership program, which I graduated up there last October. I came down here. And so, being up there, I already had this inkling, how you call it, like this purpose to run across the country, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I told my chaplains up there about it one day. They asked me. We went on a camping trip, and they asked everybody got up and we all talked, and they asked what you think God is gonna call you to do, and I had that little. It was just like a bleak, like very bleak calling feeling, and then I was like, maybe it'll go away, and then after that night, finishing all that till here, it just kept getting stronger. You got to do this. You got to really use this purpose, this gift that I've given you to really run and do something in this purpose. So that's when I decided, you know what, this is not going away. This is like Noah building the ark, This is something that people might think you're crazy. People might think, why are you doing it? You could be doing something. But when it's God's put it on my heart, I can't run away from it. I will do everything after that. I already done everything that I thought was going to be good in my life. I already had money, got a job. I dated women before, and I thought those were going to make me happy, but it still didn't make me happy. I think that those materialistic things I thought was going to make me happy, and it didn't. But now, bro, I've been so fulfilled in my life just trying to help and be, and give encouragement to others that I really feel like that's my calling in life. And I want a little Hmong kid to say, you know what, why is this guy running across the country? Is he nuts? And then I want them to hear the story that, he was an alcoholic, he was an addict. But you know what? The reason why he's doing this is because he's found a purpose, a hope in his life. Even if I'm small, like us, I'm a Hmong kid. I'm small. I'm not Michael Jordan, maybe. Or even if I have an addiction, a problem, don't go hide away from it. Even if I'm homeless, I could really start my life again and be somebody. And if he could do it, I can do it too. So that's my whole purpose of running across this country. And when I saw Mitch on here, Mitch inspired me so much. I just messaged him up. I'm like, bro, I'm thinking about this. What do you think, Mitch? You know what? Mitch was like, bro, go for it. I'll support you. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm like, bro, I saw you on that podcast. And he was like, man, those are my guys. I'll give them a call. I'll put you on. And so that's how that whole setup went. So now this is getting really serious because I'm on the verge of graduating TCLI. I have a job lined up as a recovery coach, but I'm going to forego that. For now, I can always come back to that. I think my calling right now is to run across this country and give it everything I've got. And even if it takes my life, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I think I'm going to dedicate my life to this. And even if it does take my life, so be it, because this is my purpose in life, and so I will be running March of 2025, starting from Ocean City, Maryland,
Okay.
straight to California,
Wow.
Route 50, 3,000 miles. And then Mitch is going to fly out there to Maryland, and he's going to see when I take off from that coast and hit the other coast where he's from, California.
Yeah. Oh.
Route 50 goes to Sacramento, but when I get to Sacramento, I'm going to cut it off and go straight to the Golden Gate Bridge and run up that all the way to San Francisco. And so that's my plan.
That is amazing.
So, bro, it's going to take a while, but you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm here on your podcast because I'm doing this and because I want people to realize that, you know what, when you go from addiction, from the darkness that I've been and Mitch's been, other guys have been, we could come out of that hole. you know? And so what I'm here to do is just for that. I'm not here to promote anything. I'm not here to make money. In fact, even if I do get money from this, I'm going to give it back to the homeless, whoever is suffering. That's what I want to do. I don't want stuff. I want to do this as a child of God, and that's it, for the love and the compassion that God has given me. And I just want to do it back to basically the Hmong people, our community. And so that's why I'm so passionate about it, because number one, I used to think that running saved my life, but God put running in my life to save my life. And so I'm very passionate about those two things. And so I want to do that. I want to do that before I do anything else. Even if I do come back and work as a recovery coach and help out addicts, I'm not gonna do that until I finish this calling that I have. Man, I'm just so glad that you guys, I'm able to come here and talk about it with you guys and spread the word. You know,
It's an honor to
Yeah.
have you here.
So-
Nobody has even thought or even attempt to even think about that.
Yeah.
It's such an honor to even have you sitting here and you dedicating your life to that for right now.
I think that it's something that I really can't turn away from, and when God gave me that calling, he said, you know what, you really have to do this for me. It's not my decision anymore. He gave me the love and the passion for running, but I was thinking to myself, I could go and do a bunch of marathons and be like, oh, you know what? I'm so proud of myself. But I think that would be there's nothing wrong with that. I probably after this, in the future, I might go back and run marathons too, because my ultimate goal before this was to do ultra marathons,
Okay.
But life just, I think now I see a bigger purpose than that,
Yeah.
In fact, before I even went to TC up in Duluth, I actually qualified for Chicago, and I bought the ticket and
really?
everything. I bought the rented. I got a hotel over there, and I was supposed to go. But that summer, my addiction took a turn for the worse, and I ended up in TC. And so I never made that run over in Chicago, which I was supposed to be in.
Okay.
But you know what? I think about it, and I know that there's a bigger purpose for me, for all of us. And so that is something that I'm willing to let go of and do this instead, and my whole life too. And I just want to,
Mefree, where can we take a break?
Yeah,
for a
so,
second?
yeah.
So let's take a break, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
And then you finish up, and we'll talk.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Luning na ora kuleta Samu sala puchi choja vuta Motri yang tri chotri chơ hau kata Kaya ya ko kuchi na ka Luning na ora kuleta Samu sala puchi choja vuta Motri yang tri chotri chơ hau kata Kaya ya ko kuchi na ka Ora cha luning na nu ha jong ni na ka